All right, just finished building bag 1 of this Team Associated RC28 128 scale on-road car. This is the 2-wheel drive, and overall it went really well. I actually had to go ahead and hook my electronics up just a little bit to center this servo horn because they wanted the servo horn already installed in step 1 out of bag 1. But I did have to order some screwdrivers. I didn't have some of the smaller ones. So just so you know, if you build this kit, you will need a 0.09 millimeter. And this is a 1.3 millimeter. It doesn't have the inscription. I actually already had this one. And you will need a 1.5 millimeter, which I already had as well. So really just had to order that 0.09 millimeter. But the build went good. You can see these nice carbon fiber pieces. This looks like the piece that has a little battery strap to hold your battery down. It does come with pretty much 3 different sets of these torsion links here. I chose to go with the mediums. It comes with the hards and the softs. Like I said, decided to go with the mediums. And it came with these little shims, which you can put under here to raise that center pivot up. But just kind of build it all stock, but looking forward to building bag 2. Just finished up bag 2 here. Wasn't too complicated, pretty much just this rear block and then the bracket that holds your body posts. And pretty neat, it comes with this piece here, which is for running a Lexan body, but it also comes with this piece here, which is for the hard bodies, which if you're running a hard body, mounts up right there just like that. This piece holds in the pivot blocks, as you can see, and it came with kind of 3 different settings. You can install it with the arrow up for a high pivot and the arrow down for a low pivot, and then pretty much the one without any inscription on it is for a center. I chose to go with the low pivot. As you can see, that hole is offset down towards the bottom. And I did have my Lexan body cut out already. This is the Protoform Venturi body. And here's kind of a more close-up of the pack that it came in. But so far, the build's going good. No complaints. I feel like the quality is still really nice. Just finished up building bag 3 of this RC28. And that pretty much consisted of the rear pod here. And it is all aluminum. Felt very nice. Nice carbon fiber pieces here. And this nice carbon fiber piece there. And that connects to your torsion links there. As you can see, of course, maybe in a further step, our shock will go from there to there, which will absorb this way. And then we got our torsion bars, which compensate that way. And it came with these little tiny shims. And what that's for, you can see there's a couple laying on the table there, is to compensate for your tire thickness, which give this little guy quite a bit of, tunability in the rear there. I thought that was pretty neat and pretty easy to get to. Pretty much, the rear pod will be easily accessible, and 2 screws there, 2 screws there. The shims just slide in and out, and really you just got to undo the rear ones and loosen the top ones here, and I think they just slide in and out. So pretty cool design on that. Nice tunability. Can't wait to get bag 4 going here. Looks like we'll be getting our front bumper on and installing our body post, which gets us closer to putting the body on. So just finished up bag 4 of the kit, and everything went together really well. As you can see, that kind of consists of the front end here, little A-arms, if you want to call them A-arms, and the turnbuckles. And I wanted to point out this piece here. It comes with pretty much 4 different ones that you can choose from. I went with the stock setting to try it out. But pretty much the number on the left is for your camber, and the number on the right is for your caster. As you can see, this is a 2-2. I'm guessing that's somewhere in the middle. Might look into that a little bit further on. Got the bumper installed. and the body post. So we're getting really close to being able to put this body on. But just kind of wanted to point those things out. Up next, we'll be doing bag number 5. Looks like it consists of your shock for the middle there and some linkage from these 2 balls. Yeah, let's move on to bag number 5. Bag 5 is now complete, and it was a really easy bag. As I said earlier, just kind of consisted of the shock here. This is officially the smallest shock I have ever built, since I normally race 8 scale, and that's intense scale RC. And kind of they called it shock oil, but this stuff felt more like diff fluid. And pretty much all you do, it's almost like grease. You just kind of grease the inside of the shock shaft there and kind of grease the inside of that area there. But I like these little sidebars. See how it kind of keeps it from rotating too far, and the spring works good. I actually was able to make a trip out to Blast RC today as I was working on this truck throughout the week, or this car throughout the week, and he hooked me up with one of these 2S hard cases, and I had to add one more little shim that actually came with the kit. But as you can see, it's really tight, but that does clear the battery there now, but just barely. So that should work just fine, but everything feels smooth, everything feels good. Still very happy with the kit build so far. Only 2 bags left and we'll be done. Pretty excited to get this build complete. This will be the rear axle and diff. So I was in the middle of building bag number 6, and I wanted to stop and show you guys how tiny these diff gears are. This is ridiculous. Definitely the smallest diff I've ever built. And you kind of use some grease to hold those pins and diff gears in place. The kit did not come with black grease, but I just had some laying around from another kit that I've built in the past, so I got that done. But man, those are tiny, tiny diff gears. Just finished up the RC28, and I think where we left off, I was building the rear differential and the rear axle there. So that is finished. I got my electronics installed. Everything went really nice. Flat sky receiver, this NHX motor and ESC. This is a 2500 kV motor, and I have a 2S hard case there, and I pretty much just soldered the 2mm bullets onto that. Is what I'm going to be using. I had to solder my motor wires. I was a little nervous about doing that because I had never soldered an ESC and motor that size, that small, and it went pretty well. So pretty happy with how that turned out. Everything works. I have tested it. Kind of want to show a couple more things. Want to give a shout out to Ray and Blast RC. He was able to hook me up with this battery and this pinion before I was able to get these in the mail. So I was able to actually get this going earlier than I had anticipated. So really appreciate that. He also hooked me up with some 2mm bullets and this 3D printed kind of plug holder right there. And it's actually really nice because you can just plug this right into your battery. You know, you got your plus right there, red to red, black to black. And one thing I did was, I wanted to show you guys this. And it's a good thing that I had one of these on hand. But the battery connector that came with this battery, this is a PN Racing battery, 360 milliamp, is a different connector. So pretty much all I have done to charge my battery is, you guys, if you have any mini RCs at all, probably have one of these like mini USB balance chargers. Comes with like your axial SCX24s and maybe even the smaller Losi, the Micro B, the Losi Micro B. but pretty much just took a balance extension. You can get these on Amazon for really, really cheap. And cut it off, soldered those 2mm bullets on, and now that plugs into USB. You can probably pick one of these chargers up cheap on Amazon as well, just so you guys are aware. It's just a 2S balance charger. Like I said, used a lot in the micro crawlers or anything, those small batteries that are 2S. So was able to pick that up. And the last thing that I had ordered that came in was this PN Racing, and this is a 14-tooth pinion gear, and it is, you know, has a set screw, so it's not a push-on. Comes with an Allen wrench. So I'm going to get that guy installed on there, and we'll take a look at the body when I get it finished painted up. So stay tuned. All right, the body is finished, and I think it turned out really well. Went with this metallic red, got white and some gunmetal, and black kind of along the bottom and along the bumper there. A little bit of bleeding with the paint. Never really painted anything this small, but overall I feel like it turned out really well. The decals went on, made it look a little bit better, I think, but pretty happy with it. I will show you guys this. Take the body off. I thought this was really cool. I saw this in a video from the shop Mini RC. He does a lot of 28 scale racing and that sort of thing. But he had put fuel line from a Nitro RC to help hold the body up. So I thought that was really neat. And one other thing I wanted to talk about is, maybe put this body back on. The wheels, as you can see, I got different wheels and tires on here. These are the stock wheels and tires, and the white might look pretty good. I don't know. But the thing with Mini Z's is there's different offsets right in here that help get the width kind of to match the body. And the front wheels on the RC28 that came in the kit are kind of like a 0 offset. And as you can see, these are offset just a little bit more out, which kind of made it fit the body a little bit better, I felt like. But I think the white wheels and tires would probably look pretty good with this body. I don't know. But overall, I'm pretty happy with the build. Pretty happy with how everything turned out. Can't wait to get out and race this thing. I got to hit up Blast RC as soon as possible and get some track time in. Kind of my first intro to 128 scale racing outside of running some Mini Z's, stock Mini Z's every now and then. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for those that continue to watch my content, like my content, and share it with others. But if you are interested in this build, I highly recommend it. It was pretty fun. Can't wait to test it out and see how it handles. So stay tuned for future videos.